I'm a city boy, so the majority of my 5 years living in the Philippines has been spent staying in cities. I've had 3 stints in Cebu City, totalling 3.5 years, and 2 stints in Manila, totalling 8 months. So having spent a lot of time in each city, I'm going to tell you the best city to date Filipinas for old timers like myself.
Hello, good morning, good evening, and welcome to Big World Cinema. Without further ado, we'll continue with what you're here for.
I was locked down in Cebu City, so dating arrangements were done online, which I've stuck to ever since. Cebu is the only place I've had a long-term Filipino girlfriend who I met on Dating Asia. This comparison of the 2 cities is based on dates I've had whilst being on 5 dating apps: Badoo, Bumble, OkCupid, PinaLove and Tinder over the past couple of years. I generally don't pay to use these apps, although sometimes if I've had 1,000 likes on one of the apps, I will sign up for a week or a month to see the ones who've liked me. But this is normally a waste of money, as I would have swiped left on most of them anyway. Viewers say, why continue with internet dating? Why not approach Filipinas in the flesh? Sure, I hear you. Maybe cold calling works for you, but I am totally invisible when walking around the big cities now. And contrary to what you've been led to believe, not all Filipinas want to date foreigners. Plus, not many successful Filipinas from wealthy backgrounds with good jobs will want to date foreigners as well. I might be generalising, but it's pretty safe to say that the majority of Filipinas wanting to date foreigners are mainly from lower income families. Walking around the areas of Makati and BGC in Metro Manila, I am not noticed at all. There are many great looking Filipinas in these areas, but they pay me no attention. Zilch. Even after I upped my game, ditched the toupee and the Jesus boots, it made no difference. I find that women in Manila have this untouchable attitude, especially where older foreign guys are concerned. Sure, you may be a guy in your 30s or 40s who finds it easy getting with Manila ladies, but as an older senior, I find that you're generally dismissed. I even had a few Filipinos who stopped chatting to me when I told them I wasn't actually staying in BGC, but just outside the pretentious bubble in a Filipino neighbourhood. So I was deemed unworthy. Cebu City has gone the same way. Lots of great looking Filipinas, call centre girls walking around IT Park, but pay absolutely no interest to me. If you head outside the main areas, however, go to somewhere more local like Quiapo in Metro Manila, or Olongo Island just next to Lapu-Lapu, or any of the other cities or beach towns outside Cebu City, you stand a better chance of interaction. But in the central areas, where the sight of a foreigner is not a novelty, you're generally invisible. This is why I continue with internet dating. I'm often also asked about my head count, which I'm not going to reveal, but I'm doing alright for a 64-year-old guy, thanks very much. Certainly a lot better than during my final 10 years living in the UK, where if I'd remained living there any longer, I'd have been a victim of self-abuse. The epitaph on my gravestone reading, "The man who wanked himself to death." I'm not a player. I don't tell Filipinas that I'm looking for a serious relationship. Viewers say that when guys reach a certain age, you need to pay for it. But over my 5 years living in the Philippines, I've only directly paid to get jiggy once. In both of these cities, you'll find a number of Filipinas who've moved into the bigger city from the provinces to find work or go to college. So they're living away from their families. Some Filipinas I chatted to in Manila hadn't been home back to their families for years. I also found that Filipinas living in Manila are more into casual connections than those living in Cebu City now. In fact, my most recent stint in Manila happened to be my best season overall, if you use the football strikers analogy. I met 2 Filipinas on Bumble, keen for a quickie with a foreigner, without payment. The first one was 20, a student, who didn't take long to set up a date with me over Christmas. We met for food and drinks in BGC. Recently, I've talked about dates with Filipinas who have just used me as a meal ticket to get fed and fled. But at least with this girl, I was guaranteed some action, as she'd already told me the point of our meeting was to get jiggy. So I didn't mind wining and dining her first, although her ordering food and taking just a couple of bites before leaving it was a little bit annoying. We took a cab back to my hotel, where she needed to sleep for a bit before we got down to it. She had a little puppy fat, but a waxed lady garden, which was a pleasure to see. The second Bumble girl lived across the river in Mandaluyong, invited me over to her condo to Netflix and chill. Normally, if you were to invite a Filipina straight to your condo, she'd respond by saying, "I'm not going to your condo, I'm not a hookah." So you need to invite them to a place near your condo for drinks first, then take them back to your condo, which makes them feel less like a hookah, apparently. So I first went out in Capital Commons for food near the lady's condo, then arrived at her place after 10 p.m. She worked 2 jobs as a virtual assistant, barely left her apartment, obviously just ate junk food, as although she had a great rack, she was a petite, fat girl, which hadn't been that obvious in her Bumble photographs, obviously. We lay on her bed watching the movie Woman in the Window, which was actually quite enjoyable. Her room was freezing. I mean, freezing, like an icebox. She had the AC on full blast and I was shivering. As the movie ended, she put her arm around me, saying she felt sleepy now. If she'd suggested I should go home now, I'd have jumped at the opportunity, but she wanted some action. I've never got jiggy with a sumo wrestler before, and my little man wasn't feeling it too, so thankfully she fell asleep and I escaped. A date with a mixed race, half Filipina, half African girl was much more enjoyable. She'd messaged me first on PinaLove saying she loved my green eyes. She was a caddie at a golf course and we arranged to meet in Makati one Saturday afternoon. I arrived at a cafe at Greenbelt and sat there for 2 hours thinking she'd stood me up. But she was coming from Sucat, miles away, and couldn't update where she was as she was travelling on the back of a motorbike taxi. I was about to leave when she suddenly showed up. She sat down beside me at the cafe and rested her hand on my thigh. I love black girls, have dated a few back in the UK. Combine their sexiness with Filipina traits and you have the perfect combination. Chemistry was immediately there and we were unable to keep our hands off each other. So that date went well. Returning to Cebu this year, I actually paid for a monthly subscription to PinaLove under the understanding that that would speed up communication rather than needing to wait 10 minutes to send the next message. But as I discovered before staying in the provinces, getting a response and a conversation going takes so long nowadays. You'd think conversation would be easy. Some have well-written profiles, but when you start chatting, have nothing to say. Just one-word answers, as if they're not bothered. I love our conversations, I'd frequently write, sarcastically. I wonder why a number of these Filipinas have signed up to the dating app if they're not going to get into a conversation with you. They will also say, not active here. Message me on Insta. So you do, and they don't respond, which drives me crazy too. Just getting a message back from my initial intro, great to meet you, would love to jump your bones, takes a few hours, weeks, or months. One Filipino recently responded to my message after a year. Take your time, I said. Oh, sorry, I'm not active here. No shit, Sherlock. And once they respond and you ask another question, they've already stopped messaging you. Buying premium membership just enables you to message more Filipinas and hope that one of them eventually responds this month. Actually getting them out on a date is another hurdle. I was still getting a few dates, but arranging them would take forever. You need a lot of patience now. I want to date a Filipina under 35 years of age and list my age as under 50, as that seems to be the cut-off age that Filipinas are looking for now. Do I care that I'm lying about my age? No, I'm looking for a date, not a serious relationship. Actually, I'm not adverse to entertaining a serious relationship, as much as the terminology makes me hyperventilate, but at my late stage in life, I don't see it happening. Does that bother me? No. If I do find someone I want to get serious with, then I'd obviously reveal my real age. Well, decade at least. In fact, when I met the South African girl in London who became my girlfriend, we met on a dating website when she was 29 and I was 44, although my profile said I was 34, until I came clean. She wasn't bothered. She was a single mum, a Hindu. Nobody else wanted to touch her. But even lying about my age, saying I'm under 50, isn't exactly creating an avalanche of naked selfies in my inbox. Unless Filipinas are checking out my profile photos and can see through my deceit. So if you like what you're seeing here, hello, and want to stay connected with life in the Philippines, I think you need to subscribe and click the notification bell. Thank you. On my first week back in Cebu, I spent around 2 hours chatting with a 19-year-old. She was 5'6", pretty hot. Said she wasn't into one-night stands, but was into tall, genuine, honest man. Couldn't believe she was chatting with me. Not only was she attractive, but an avid book lover who'd stopped schooling to sell books on TikTok Live. Sent me a selfie saying she likes to dress sexy, classy, to be exact. Any plans this evening? I casually asked. We'll go to Ayala bookstore and browse. Will you be in Ayala? She asked. Be still, my beating heart. Be great to meet you, I replied gingerly. Well, see if you will bump into me, she said. Okay, cool, I responded. I didn't go to Ayala, hang around the bookshop all evening like a sad simp hoping to bump into the bookish girl. But the following day messaged her. Good afternoon. I asked her plans. Said she was returning to the bookstore at Ayala again. I said she should get a job there, which she thought would be fun, but she lacked a college degree. Sent me a photograph of her eyelashes as she was preparing to go out. She asked if I had any dates. No, not yet. I'm picky, not going to meet someone for the sake of it, I said. I see. I guess I did not pass your standards. You did. I asked to meet you, I replied. Huh? Really? Scroll up, I said. You said, well, see if we bump into each other. So I assumed you're not interested in meeting me. You did not ask me properly, love. You gave up too early. I said, be great to meet you. I guess I misunderstood, she said. I wasn't going to walk around the bookstore hoping to bump into you. I wanted to meet you. I know, my mistake, she said. I would love to meet you, Isabel. Most of the time, men here lie about their age, she said. Chatted with this guy, said he was 46, but literally 10 years older. That was a bit frustrating. Oops, now she had me. If someone connects with me, I don't really care if she's 19 or 39, I responded. Isabel didn't respond, not needing a college degree to realise I was being miscalculating, and obviously she was more into a relationship than a fling.
Just a quick reminder to please click the thumbs up button if you liked the video, or thumbs down button if you didn't. Obviously. Thank you.
Last year, when I stayed in Cebu for 3 months, the writing was already on the wall that the dating scene had already changed. Sure, I'd managed to date a few Filipinas that time in Cebu, but not as many as in the past or during my most recent stay in Manila. The only Filipina I got with in Cebu City this time was a repeat of the lardy girl from Manila. Not that her profile pics had suggested that. I don't want to be unkind to her, but her body was gross. Would have made a great scrum half, but not hookah. She was only 22, but had packed on enough meat not needing to eat for another year. I can't believe how Filipinas watch their bodies grow without wanting to stop the growth. Just accept it, people. And also allow their lady gardens to get so uncultivated. Not one to mince his words, I had to say something. I don't like shaving it, she responded, which was blinking obvious from where I was looking. I normally like a bit of foreplay, but didn't want to put my mouth anywhere near her jungle, not knowing what delicacies I might taste down there. Having spent an hour earlier shaving my chest, I'd have appreciated similar body grooming from her. This time around in Cebu City, I gave up trying. Look, I can easily date single mums, I can easily date chubby girls, but I've got higher standards. I expect too much. I'm not interested in the dregs. I was Mr. Essex, runner-up 3 years on the trot from 1967 to 1969, between the ages of 6 and 8. So a man of my saliva should still be able to pull a decent bird. Filipinas who are 6s or 7s on the looks chart are now acting as if they're 8s, 9s, with the actual 8s, 9s and 10s totally off limits. With many more Filipinas nowadays expecting princess treatment or a jeepney full of cash. Conversations online are generally bland and uninspiring. You get the occasional one where things flow for a couple of days, but if the conversation lacks any spark, I quickly lose interest. A good friend of mine said that you shouldn't spend much time chatting. Just get them out quickly, don't linger. Sure, and when I've taken his advice, I find that when we meet they have nothing to say, there's no interest, and it's a complete waste of time. Or she's a complete nut job. So I need to vet them for a little while online before actually meeting them in the flesh. In conclusion, I find that Cebu City is basically hookup central now. Whereas in Manila, I feel that the dating options are more open. Obviously, this is my personal opinion, and you might have better dating experiences in Cebu rather than Manila. But if I were looking to choose one city over the other, I would choose to stay in Manila, which I also believe to be the better city to live. Happy dating, everyone!
This video is sponsored by The Dregs, a dating website for those who nobody wants, who stand a chance of getting laid.
You've been watching Uncle, the man from Big World Cinema.
Please like, subscribe, and share with your friends.